You mentioned dairy farming and a lot of controversy about the environmental impact of dairy farming, particularly this isn't that big a region for dairy farming, but still it's happening here. And water issues are a huge issue in Hawke's Bay, both in terms of allocation, quantity, and also pollution. Some would argue that we're already at a point here where dairy farming has sort of reached the limit of what can sustainably happen. And on the other hand, it seems to be the only profitable form of farming these days to a lot of these folks. How far can we push dairy farming in this country without really running afoul of our environment?
Well, you can only push anything as far as the ecological limits allow. And in the case of dairy farming, it's obviously water intensive. And you have a lot of competing uses for water in the bay. I mean, apart from the household sector, you've got other industry, you've got your pip fruit sector. So there's quite a lot of call on water. And what we're going to have to be better at doing as a country is planning for the allocation of our overall water resource. By and large, we've banked on being a country that had enough water for everyone to do what they wanted. That isn't the case anymore. And so some of the work we're doing in government around national policy statements, water allocation, is going to be pretty critical moving forward.
The politics of those issues, you know, an area like this is where the rubber meets the road, as they say, because you have rural-dominated councils, if you will, and yet a growing urban population that has a different set of environmental expectations and standards. And we're at a point, I think, here in Hawke's Bay where these two things are just beginning to butt heads in a serious way.
And there's a third issue, because once we get into the issue of allocation and water rights, then we're getting into the issue of who owns it. And of course then you have Māori interests saying, well, we own it, and we're saying the Crown owns it. So we're trying not to get progress on the very important issue of clean water and proper allocation tied up with an issue about who owns